Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here, and today we are talking about Facebook because Facebook doesn't want you, American citizen, to know that you're being micro-targeted politically on their platform, oftentimes by both campaigns, depending on where you live. And this is what's going on and what they're trying to quash. It's insane. This is coming from the Associated Press. Now, academics, journalists, and First Amendment lawyers are actually rallying behind New York University researchers in a showdown with Facebook over its demand that they halt the collection of data showing who is being micro-targeted by political ads, essentially on the world's largest ad platform on social media. Now, the researchers say that their tool is vital to understanding how Facebook has been essentially being used as a conduit for both disinformation and voter manipulation. In an October 16th letter to the researchers, a Facebook executive demanded that they disable the plugin that they've created for both Chrome and Firefox browsers, which are used by 6,500 volunteers across the United States, and delete the data that they have obtained. Now remember, these are volunteers, people that have willingly said, I'm going to give this research my personal information. Now, this plugin lets the researchers see which ads are shown to each volunteer. Facebook lets advertisers tailor ads basically on specific demographics that go way beyond race, gender, and political preference. And we will get to that because I have been pulling some of that information from their website, and it is fascinating. Now, the executive at Facebook, Allison Hendricks, said that the tool violates Facebook's rules prohibiting automated bulk collection of data from their site. Her letter threatened, and I quote, additional enforcement action if this takedown or the removal of the app was not done by November 30th. Now, company spokesman Joe Osborne said in an email on Saturday to the AP that Facebook, and I quote, informed NYU months ago that moving forward with a project to scrape people's Facebook information would violate our terms. Obviously, Facebook has long claimed that protecting their privacy is their main concern. I've done videos on that. I don't believe that at all. And then the NYU researchers say their tool is programmed so that data collected from the participants is actually anonymous. And again, remember, these are volunteers. This is not automated in a way that Cambridge Analytica was, where everybody got scraped without their knowledge. 6,500 roughly Americans have signed up to do this to help understand or help NYU understand political targeting. Now, the outcry over Facebook's threat was immediate after the Wall Street Journal first reported this news on Friday a few days ago. And obviously, this is a very critical thing because the insights that their tool, it's called Ad Observer, has is just interesting. And it's been used since September by local newspapers, local reporters in Wisconsin, for example, Utah, Florida, to write about the election. Now, to quote Rema Krishan, an attorney with the Knight First Amendment Institute at Columbia University, which is representing NYU, and I quote, that Facebook is trying to shut down a tool crucial to exposing disinformation in the run-up to one of the most consequential elections in U.S. history is alarming. The public has a right to know what political ads are being run and how they are being targeted. Facebook shouldn't be allowed to be the gatekeeper to information necessary to safeguard a democracy. I completely agree. Politics should be 100% transparent, including those that are running political ads. I don't care if you're a super PAC or the campaign yourself. And by virtue of their website, and I encourage everybody to go to it, it's adobservatory.org. Again, that's adobservatory.org. It is packed with just interesting stuff that their 6,500 researchers, or rather volunteers, have simply pulled, and they've been able to aggregate. Now, consider this. Since July 1st of 2020, and this is just on Facebook, the Trump campaign, basically President Trump for re-election, has spent $87.4 million in Facebook ad targeting. The Biden campaign, Vice President Biden's campaign, $68.6 million. So President Trump is outspending Joe Biden by about $20 million or so, roughly. Since October 16th, though, the Biden campaign is outspending the Trump campaign, and we've also read reports that the Trump campaign is low on cash, where Biden has been surging in terms of collections and all of that. I've read that multiple places. Now, their targeting methods are somewhat similar, but definitely diverge, and this is really interesting. So both campaigns are targeting people in the United States of any gender, ages 18 to 65. Each, though, are targeting specific locations in swing states, as well as ads for the entire swing state as well. So, for example, some of the direct targeting, micro-targeting that the Trump campaign has done are for towns like Paw Paw, Michigan, Fayetteville, North Carolina, South Haven, Michigan, Duluth, Minnesota, and more. On the Biden side of things, their campaign has been targeting Jacksonville, Florida, West Melbourne, Florida, Madison, Wisconsin, Durham, North Carolina, and more. And they're keyword targeting or tagging by interests, meaning the Facebook user has specified, I'm interested in XYZ or identify XYZ. That's really been interesting because they've been grabbing those interests and targeting them. So the Trump campaign, and these are some of the key words that is coming right out of the research, you can read it yourself at adobservatory.com, is African American culture. That's interesting. The UFC, meaning Ultimate Fighting Championship. NRA, the National Rifle Associations, go fig. Cabela's, that's a sportsman shop, like a sporting shop. Green Bay Packers, gospel music, Duck Dynasty, hip hop and African music, and on and on and on. The Biden campaign, not to be outdone, has a very different list of people that have listed their interests of who they are targeting. One would be NPR, National Public Radio. The other would be Emily's List. And then a whole bunch of politicians like Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Al Franken, Bernie Sanders. They also target the Southern Poverty Law Center, Oprah, interestingly enough. So if you're an Oprah fan, you're going to get targeted by the Biden campaign. Dan Rather, the news anchor, and more, obviously. So you can obviously see the divergence here. It seems to me, just in the data, as I'm looking at this objectively, it seems like the Biden campaigns tends to be targeting people that have shown interest in, let's say, their side of politics, whereas the Trump campaign seems to be more all over the map with this. And obviously some of these, like the NRA, is going to be more on his side, as would be people that probably shop at Cabela if we're looking at demographics. But I find that the hip hop and African music and African American culture is, I think, something that they are really targeting, as is gospel music, which probably speaks to a good subset of his voters as well. So this is very interesting. I just recommend everybody to go and see this, but make sure that when you are looking at these things, I would try to sign up if you want to be anonymous for this kind of research, understanding the privacy implications of what you're giving over to NYU. But the more we understand political advertising and targeting, the more transparent, essentially, these campaigns will have to be when they are targeting us. And I think that's a really important thing, because we have so many accusations in this election flying around for one thing or the other. And I'm not even going to get into that. But as we are looking at that, it's really important to be able to cut through the noise. And if you have, based on your interest, if you're getting slammed with advertisements left and right saying one candidate is, the next Hitler or whatever it is, that's a very serious issue that we need to deal with here, because we shouldn't be this crass. We should have a little more decorum, because, quite frankly, I have people from both sides of the political aisle that support either one of these candidates, and I'm not going to shoot them, and they're not going to shoot me. And I think that's kind of important. We all have to get along here if we're going to maintain this country. So take that for what it's worth. This was a very, very interesting thing. And Facebook, shame on you for trying to remove something that would be transparent. These are volunteers. This is not like the times that you have unknowingly scraped billions of people's data. Shame on you. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.